Hey true believers, this is Dr. T and welcome to my comic book channel. Today I'm going to show you the books I picked up at the Richmond, Virginia Comic Con. Stay tuned. So I attended the Virginia Comic Con, which is held in Richmond, Virginia, multiple times a year, and it was held at the Richmond Raceway in an older, not too small, but smaller building that's next to the giant Richmond Raceway. And living now in this part of the country really allows me to attend more cons that I didn't have access to before living out in Utah. So I attended Baltimore Comic Con at the end of October. I attended this Richmond, Virginia Comic Con, and I'm thinking about whether I'm going to attend any of the days of GalaxyCon in Richmond at the end of March, and also making plans on whether I want to attend New York later next year in October. So being out here gives me a lot of options of where I can go. I had a great time in Baltimore, and I did have a nice time at this Richmond Con. It was much smaller, family oriented, so there were some strollers, lots of kids around looking for Pokemon cards, but there were also a number of comic vendors, probably at least a dozen. And what I like to do is go around to each one before I start making any purchases, just to see what they have. And I really didn't have anything in mind that I was specifically looking for, especially because of my recent mega purchases of this giant size X-Men 1 and this Hulk 181 at Baltimore Comic Con. From my previous video, I showed those. So I really, it's one of those when they ask me, can I help you find anything? And I go, not really. I just kind of know it when I see it sort of approach, which works for me, I was looking for raw books in high grade, near mint plus, near mint grades, which I know is hard to find. And I hate to be the guy that's just looking for those high grade raw books, because I know those aren't always going to be on the wall. Rarely we're going to find books in that condition on the wall. And so I am hesitant to ask them, hey, can I see these 3 books, these 5 books on the wall? And I take a look, because most of the time it is a miss for me in what I'm looking for exactly. But that's the way I like to do it, and it works for me. And so some of the books that I came away with, there was one particular vendor that had books that were 50% off their marked cover price, their marked price. And I ended up spending quite a bit of time, probably at least an hour, going through a lot of those long boxes to see if I could find anything. And I ended up finding a stack of Ultimate Spider-Man books. And I have up here my Dynamic Forces variant Ultimate Spider-Man #1 from 2000. And I'm trying to complete a run of Ultimate Spider-Man. So issue 1 through issue 160, and the death of Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe, just about at the time when they introduced Miles Morales in Ultimate Fallout 4. I have Ultimate Fallout 5, 6, and then I found this copy of Ultimate Fallout #2, and I have a raw copy still of Ultimate Fallout 4 that's about a near mint minus near mint grade. And then I found this, and they had a bunch of these Ultimate books, and I ended up coming away with, 12 Ultimate Spider-Man books to help complete that raw run that I'm already done with. I really loved reading those Ultimate Spider-Man books in the 2000s. And so I thought, you know what, this will be a run that I can feasibly put together. So I picked up the Wizard #1/2 of Ultimate Spider-Man. I did not have this one. And all of these were marked at $4. But since they were 50% off, I got these next books that I'm going to show you for $2 each. And these are all in very fine near mint to near mint books, if not near mint plus. And I haven't, because they were so cheap, I didn't even look closely enough to see, are any of these near mint candidates. And so there might be some. I couldn't believe the quality of these books. So there was that one. And the Ultimate Fallout 2, that book was marked at 10, 50% off. So it was only 5. And then this Ultimate Spider-Man number 6, again for $2. All of these $2. Ultimate Spider-Man number 7. Ultimate Spider-Man number 8. If you've never read these before, they are quite good, quite entertaining. Just a more modern, I say modern now, and they're, that the series started 22 years ago, but just a more modern take on Peter Parker. And I really got into these. It was my way to get into Spider-Man after never really getting into Amazing Spider-Man from the Silver Age or the Bronze Age or the Copper Age. So it was really my chance to get in at the ground. At the ground level to enjoy some Spider-Man stories. Ultimate Spider-Man number 9, number 10, number 37, and again I this was to fill my run, and I had the books that I needed on my phone, and I couldn't believe that I was able to just get all of these in one fell swoop. Number 38. They must have recently picked up a collection because they had run after run of these Ultimate titles. Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Fantastic Four, Ultimate Spider-Man. Issue 39. Issue 68. Issue 76. And issue 89. And then they also had a 50-cent bin, and so I picked up this Uncanny X-Men. This is, I can't even remember what issue this is. Yeah, but this is where, because this is when they weren't really putting the issues on. 352 or 353 is the first appearance of Onslaught. This is the first mention of Onslaught. This is probably, there's a little spine split up here at the top, but this is probably a very fine plus, very fine near mint copy. 50 cents. So I thought I'm going to pick that one up. And then this Uncanny X-Men 281, very nice copy, probably a near mint to near mint plus grade for 50 cents. And I thought, I'm not going to pass that up. And then I found there was a seller there, Jacob Hamblin, I believe. And he is based out of Richmond. And it has a shop called Cerebral Vortex. He sets up in a local mall there Thursday through Saturdays. And so I was taking a look at some of the books he had. And sometimes you just get lucky and find something that you're interested in. And that's what happened to me here. So I came across this He-Man and the Masters of the Universe number 19. I'm a big He-Man fan. He-Man action figures, the new Motu Origins line, Masters of the Universe Origins line. And then I have this entire run of when DC redid the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe story from issue 1 through this last issue 19. And then they also had Eternia War and Masters of the Universe versus DC sort of line, all during this time, 2012 through about 2016. And so this issue 19 is the origin of Skeletor. And looking at the front, looking at the back, this is definitely a near mint candidate. The idea was to for this to be like a PC book possibly, but I'm also open to selling it. But being a He-Man fan, it would be nice to have this book in a 9.8, sending it into CGC. So this one I got for $35, marked at $40. Didn't even ask for a discount, and he said, I'll give that to you for $35. Sometimes I have a hard time, especially I've been spending a lot of time at their booth, and I walk away with only one book, and I've had them pull off multiple books off the wall. Sometimes it's very difficult for me to be like, yeah, can you do that book for $30 when it's $40? I have a hard time with that. I know probably many of you don't. You're fine haggling a little bit. I just struggle with it. But I was ready to pay the full price of $40, and he said, I'll give it to you for $35. Didn't even have to say anything. So I thought that was really nice of him. We ended up having a nice conversation, and just me telling him I'm new to the area and asking him about that con and his experience there at Virginia Comic Con there in Richmond, and then him telling me about Galaxy Con in March and what I could expect there. And so these are some of the things I picked up. And then the last thing I picked up at the con, I saw towards the beginning. It was an 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. show. I got in there at 11. I left about 3:40, and the very last thing I saw was on my radar from the first hour that I was in there. There was a vendor that built giant dioramas of action scenes, essentially, and there was one in particular that I was there for when he sold it. Right here, this picture of Galactus busting through this bridge over the interstate highway in New York City, battling Silver Surfer, the Fantastic Four, and there was a guy there that picked this thing up. They ended up taking a picture together, I'm sure, because that's the HasLab Galactus, and the time that this very creative man put into building this diorama. I can't imagine that sold for anywhere less than $2,000 for this particular display. It was absolutely fantastic, and it was really fun to see him sell his art that he created and was selling there, and that somebody picked it up. But he had this Doctor Doom. This is an exclusive. You couldn't find this at Walmart. I have the other 4 Fantastic Four figures that are the identical packaging to this. They all match this particular artwork. So I have those 4, and I bought this Doom for $40 to go with those. And again, this is an exclusive. He had it marked at 50. I asked if he could do 40 on this one. And that time I asked if I could do 40, because if it was 50, I was not going to get it. But if he could do it for 40, I was going to walk away with this figure. So in that instance, I felt a little bad, but not too badly, to be able to ask, and he was okay with it, and I walked away with this exclusive for that $40. And then this is the box that it comes in on. If you look it up on eBay, it's listed as a Marvel Legends exclusive, but I don't know if that's exactly the case. But this is going to go really well with my other 4 identical Fantastic Four figures. So I had a great time attending that con. I'm hoping to do more things like this and to be more assertive, more aggressive in my comic book buying, selling, and collecting, because true believers, this is a fantastic hobby, and we can just have so much fun with it over and over and over again. And as always, true believers, remember, comics for life.